You're listening to Estrogen Dropouts.
Welcome back to Estrogen Dropouts. I'm one of your hosts, Elizabeth.
I'm your other host, Erin, and today we have a special guest with us. We have Kim Costa. She is an author, a speaker, and a lifestyle expert who helps people create homes that support their happiest and most authentic selves. Through her Wheelhouse Method and upcoming book, Live in Your Wheelhouse, an empowering guide to stay, go, or reno, Kim shows how aligning your home with your purpose can spark joy, clarity, and transformation. As host of American Dream TV, she shares inspiring stories of reinvention, resilience, and the powerful connection between our inner world and our outer space. And I have to tell you, listeners, the reason that I'm really excited about having Kim on, I'm sure she has lots of great things to share with us, is Elizabeth knows that I'm in the middle of moving and trying to figure out how I'm going to decorate my next space. So I hope to pick up some tips today from you, Kim, so that I can figure out how to make my home just align with my own personal style and vibe and help me create the best place to live in.
We're super excited to have you here, Kim. Why don't we start from the beginning? And can you explain to us, what does it mean to live in your wheelhouse?
So thank you for having me on. What it means to live in your wheelhouse is that you know who you are. Like, you know your style, your personality, your values, and what you enjoy in life. And then you create an environment that not only represents who you are, but it supports who you are and who you're becoming in your next stage of life. So we all go through life transitions and we develop as people, and your home needs to keep reflecting that so you don't feel stuck.
Well, I know that I read that you have been a real estate agent for a while, and I'm sure that helping people find their next home or their, where they're going to make the place that they live has been really rewarding. But what was it that inspired you to kind of merge real estate, using some psychology, and purpose into the Wheelhouse Method? How did that come about for you?
Well, I have always been fascinated with people's potential and home's potential. When I was younger, I grew up in Dunwoody, Georgia, which isn't too far from you and I. And as I was growing up, I would take the car and kind of drive around Atlanta, and I would deliver plane tickets to people. That was my first real job in high school. And so I would imagine, like in those beautiful homes in Buckhead and whatnot, what kind of people lived there, what their lifestyle was like. Oh, they have a basketball net. They must have children, and I wonder where their kids go to school. So I've always been fascinated with people. And then throughout my career, I did accounting, which kind of was the wrong career for me for quite some time. But while I was doing accounting, I got a human resource development master's work, and I did interior design at the Art Institute. And so I was always much more interested in the potential of people, not the numbers that I was crunching. So once I moved from being an accountant to a realtor, I was an accountant in the construction industry, so it was kind of related. But once I became a realtor and I actually got to apply some of this human resource development to people's homes, that's what pieced it all together to me, because I saw every move was for a certain reason in one of the 8 areas of the Wheel of Life.
Well, it's interesting that you say that about driving by people's houses. I've done that ever since I was a little girl, too. I look in people's windows like I can just remember being little and sitting in the back of my parents' car and looking in other people's windows and wondering, I wonder what a day in the life is like in that person's house. So I think that's really maybe a common thing that we do. We like try to create a story about, okay, you see something in somebody's window and you're like, oh, they must do this. They must be like that. So I love that you did that as well, and that you took that as a way to turn it into a passion and a career for yourself.
Yes, it took a long time. It took several decades to get there, but I was always very passionate about homes and people. And so, yeah, I think we share the same fascination.
Yeah. Do you find like people in midlife, women especially, are looking to reinvent their space and their environment and to help them move forward in life? Like different life transitions? I feel like we kind of all go through this. I don't know, like where you're just like looking around, you're like, is my home serving me well? Or Am I feeling inspired?
I agree. I think that is very, very much a trend. I'm a midlifer, maybe getting on almost 60 in the next year. And so I think that if we've had children, we're done raising our children. If we've had a career, perhaps we've been 25, 30 years into it. And it's time for what's next. And I think also we don't really care what anybody thinks anymore. I find that very common with people my age or our age, that, we've been successful, we've raised children, and now it's time for us. And I do think, just where we get to in midlife, that just our whole chemical makeup changes and we don't necessarily care about pleasing everybody anymore. So that's where, like, okay, as I've been in this house 25 years, it's been wonderful. My children live throughout the country. Maybe I want to move to a condo in the city and be close to the airport and fly out and see them for a month at a time and work remotely, or whatever it is the next stage that we want to do. I just think we are finally empowered as women when we hit this stage of life to create our own futures. And if there's something missing that we always loved to do when we were 10, 12, 15, and we got side railed because we helped everybody else, now's our time to go back and recreate the next 20, 30 years of our lives.
Yeah, that's been an underlying theme of this entire podcast. We are
Yeah.
always like, have talked several times about how when we get to that midlife stage, well, Elizabeth just turned 50 last week or the week before, maybe it was. Time flies. And it's like we always get to that point, I think, women, where we have served everyone else but ourselves.
Mm.
And then we're finally like, it is my time. It's like, I don't care, like, who upsets. I don't, it's not like we're trying to upset people, but we're finally able to put our own selves first and live for ourselves. So you're definitely touching on all of the points that are just basically has built this podcast is. But I know you mentioned the 8 sections of the wheelhouse. Could you tell us what those are?
Sure. So there are 8 areas in the Wheel of Life. It's a coaching tool that you color in, like it's a pie, and there are 8 pie pieces. And you color in or assign a number from 1 to 10 based on the questions in the assessment, and each of the areas, which are romance, career, finance, family and friends, spirituality, health, and environment, and then fun as well. What do you like to do for fun? So if your current living situation isn't maximizing all of those areas, and say you have like a 3. Let's use you as an example, Erin. Perhaps living, where you live, you have easy access to entertainment. The restaurants are right around the corner, but that's great with your environment. That's one of the areas, but you kind of miss your yard. And so maybe, a change is in order to, get a little more space and privacy and whatever. Maybe the layout of the house isn't quite right. So you go around each of the 8 areas and you try to fix anything so that the wheel is a full wheel, not a flat tire. The wheel of life is inflated and it rolls smoothly. So it pinpoints exactly what you're trying to fix.
So do you like divide each wheel up the same, or do some things have more value? Are you allowed to like look at that and give it more value? Like, this is the most important. I'm going to give this 20% of the.
Yeah. So you really have to, after you do the questions and assign a number and really pinpoint what's important for you to fix, you're going to prioritize. For example, you might want to prioritize career because you need to be that's very important. It's like you're there 5 days a week. If you need to go to the office, you need to be close to where you work. Or if you work from home, you need a space to work in. So that's a huge priority. If you have children, it might be that the schools need to be good, or there needs to be whatever their hobbies are, ice skating close by, or soccer, or whatever it is. And so if, family, career, those take a lot of precedence a lot of times. Finances also is one. If people are making a life change, that's a big thing. So you absolutely have to prioritize like your top 3, like 1, 2, 3. But then you still want to do, the other 5 areas to make sure you're not leaving something out. And there's always a compromise. No home is going to be a perfect 10 in every area.
Right. I mean, especially if you're like most Americans who are buying a home that's already been built. I mean, I guess if you could build your dream home that, meets every single need, but most people can't do that. You're moving into a space that's already been built.
That's right. And I do find even when people do build their own home, there's always something they would change later.
Yeah.
It's just
Well, you
nothing's
live
ever
and you
perfect.
learn, I guess. You're like, okay, well, I would have made the closet bigger, or I would have made the pantry larger or something. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
So if someone is in a life transition, how can their environment help to move them forward? Like, so, for midlife women, especially, if you could speak to that, like we kind of, there's a huge trend of gray divorce that women are going through. They've raised their kids and all of a sudden they're looking at their spouse going like, who are you? So speak to that, that person who's going through a transition and how their environment can help them move forward.
So I have been through that myself. And I think the best thing is to not make any decision too quickly. And also realize that when you do make a move, it might be temporary just for a little bit. I myself moved from a very large home into like a luxury apartment. If you're familiar with Avalon, I just pushed the easy button for about really a year or two. And I was not sure where I was going to go next. And so I moved there and switched my career and all this stuff. So in transition, perhaps stay where you are and make a plan, go through the assessment, have a therapist because transition's hard. So along with your divorce or perhaps even, the death of a partner, you need to take your time, have the support and make a plan because, moving is one of the top 3 stressors. So I'm not, telling everybody make a move when you have life transition. I'm telling everyone to hit the pause button, do a deep dive so that you can evaluate what your next step is before you make it and waste a bunch of money and a lot of time and stress yourself out. So it's really a deeper dive. So in 23 and 24, 82% of everyone who moved had major regrets, and we moved too quickly. And so this is a pause button. And even if the pause is 4 days before you go out looking, take the assessment, get very clear, or maybe renovate the home that you're in. And you can always say, I just need to hit the pause button for 6 months, a year, 2 months, and really, but I'll have these questions in mind as I move forward with my life.
That's good.
That is really great advice. We've been struggling trying to decide if we're going to move because we love our community. We can walk to restaurants and stuff, and we love that, especially as we age. Our neighborhood's a little noisy, and so maybe I want more space, like to have. Oh, and I also want to be able to play music and not feel like I have to turn it down, so I don't disrupt anybody else. I want to be outside. And my house is a little dark. Like I have a wraparound porch which blocks the sunlight, and I have a small lot, so I'm not sandwiched between. I'm not cornering it, but like on one side I don't get any light. And so I only really see the sun out the back of my house at the end of the day when it's setting because of the wraparound porch and the trees and all that stuff. So I just feel like sometimes like it's so gloomy, and then it's like even outside, it's not everything else I love.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you have any suggestions? I mean, what do I do with that?
Should I move or should I stay?
Okay, so I would classify that as number 1, a health issue, because sunlight is a problem, especially in the wintertime. If you don't get enough sunlight, it's going to affect your health. The wintertime blues and all that stuff. I had a farm and it had a big wraparound porch and it was so pretty. But did I get to go sit on the wraparound porch as much as I wanted to? They say when you wake up, you should get some direct sunlight into your eyes. And so if you could go sit on the front porch, that may help. But if you're a busy person, like most of us are, I used to have a hammock and I swear I just looked at the hammock thinking I'd love to go relax in that hammock, but I never did. I watched everybody else relax in the hammock. So in your case, if it's affecting you where you have like seasonal associative disorder or something like that, but I wouldn't per se say that your environment, because your environment is perhaps a little too close to the other people and the wraparound porch limits your direct sunlight into the house. If you've started feeling sad or depressed or like you were getting closed in on by your neighbors and you can't play your music, it's kind of like your freedom is being inhibited. And if that really starts to affect you, I wouldn't say it's like a physiological problem or a safety problem. It's kind of like a steam problem. Like, this isn't filling me up inside. And that's like a moderate need on Maslow's hierarchy. So you might be like a 5 out of 10 as far as your environment right now, maybe a 4 out of 10. So, but if everything else is perfect, that might just be something you need to live with. But say something else big goes wrong, or it appears to be wrong or doesn't fit your life anymore, may tip the scale over to this isn't working. So it's something to keep an eye on.
Helpful. That was literally so helpful to me. Thank you. Like I do feel like it's a health. I've never put that into words, but I do feel like, because I feel like my house is dark all the time.
Yeah.
And on the one side of the house that does get sun, the upper levels of the home don't have windows, which on that
Yes.
side. And I'm like,
Yes.
why would they not? That's insane to me. Put windows on that side of the house.
Yeah. Could
So
you
it
add
only
windows?
comes in through the back. Like, it's bizarre.
Yeah.
But anyway, that is I do feel like that.
Yeah.
I feel like it's kind of sometimes depressing.
Okay.
And
So
being outside sometimes in my backyard, I'm like, I go out there and ground, and if I can hear like the noise of my neighbors, like from what they're doing, or if I can't feel comfortable to play my own music or to listen to something in peace, that does kind of weigh on you.
it does. It's affecting your peace.
Yeah, I feel validated now. Thank you.
Oh, good. Good. I'm here to listen. I'm here to listen and reflect and talk it through.
Well, I think that basically, Elizabeth, you are a plant with more complicated emotions. So you need lots. I'm a light-driven person. Like when the sun comes up in the morning, that's how I wake up. When the sun goes down, that's when I'm like ready to. I'm a just a. I guess I don't know if it's called a lark or something. And they say I like lots and lots of light. So I feel you on that, Elizabeth. It's like I gotta have that sunlight to feel normal.
I know it's so hard though, because I love everything else. I love my house, the aesthetic vibe of it, but it does weigh on me.
You're not the
But I mean,
only
you
one.
still have like a few years because you're not an empty nester completely yet. So who knows? In a few years, you might just be like, okay, let's make a big move.
True.
And for your next home, you'll want to consider that. So that's going to be very high on your list for your environment and on your health. Like, I know I need sunlight. I have a very lovely client who I just helped this past summer, and she lived in a 4-story townhome, lovely, beautiful, but there was not enough light for her. And the home before that, it was very dark and she couldn't quite fix it. So when we were out looking, we would walk into a home and she would say, it's depressing me already. And it would be like a $3 million home. What's not to love about that? But if it was dark and there was not enough sunlight, it was off the list immediately. And so she knew, after living in some homes, it didn't make her move, but she knew for the next move that she needed lots of sunlight and lots of open space, amongst other things. And we made sure we found it.
That will definitely be at the top of my list. So if somebody else is like me and they can't move right now, is there anything energetically they can do to shift things inside their home to maybe make it feel like a new space? I mean, I don't know.
There is. There are a couple of things that you could do. First of all, your paint colors in where the sun does come in, are they a warm color or are they a cool color? Because the warmer colors, especially if any light can reflect off them, will reflect warmness, which is like the sunlight. And so you could kind of make the space a little brighter. You could lighten up any fabrics that are in the room. And then finally, one thing that I did purchase a couple of years ago was, it's like a fake natural light. I don't know what they call them, but it's fake natural light. Oxymoron.
I know exactly what you're talking about. It's for people that do have the seasonal affective disorder that they sit in front of, and it mimics sunlight.
First thing in the morning.
Light.
It's not a red light. It's it mimics sunlight, and you're supposed to do it for about 10 minutes first thing in the morning. Or if you could, I don't know if you could grab a cup of coffee and get somewhere on your porch where the sun does come in, that for like 10 minutes, they say that does wonders. But on the interior, I would just say brighten it up aesthetically as much as you can.
Okay, thanks.
Light paint colors, light fabrics, light furniture, make it really feel airy and like bright so that it does, yeah. Because dark colors do absorb the heat. Or,
Yes.
excuse me, dark colors do absorb the light.
Yes, yes. And the light colors reflect them. So it might make your space feel lighter if you brighten it up with aesthetics a little bit. And, things like put some plants inside, because that just makes it feel like the outside is in, and it's proven to, improve health, and it just makes you feel like you're not stuck inside a little bit.
Yeah, Erin is great at that. She's got fantastic plants out there. I'm like, I love her.
Once I became an empty nester, I decided I'm not going to become the crazy cat lady. So I became the crazy plant lady. And I literally, my plant, like this has been stressing me out about my move is my plants.
Yeah.
I'm like, how am I going to move all my plants? Because we had the movers come out, to do give us an estimate. And, and I'm like, you're not moving any of my plants. Trust me. I'm like, I would never trust anyone to move any of my plants. So we're renting like a truck thing that, to move our plants. Like the plants will be the last thing to go. I know it makes me sound crazy.
No.
But my plants bring me so much joy. I mean, like I baby them. I know, I don't just water them. I touch them. I make sure they have love. I talk to them. I have definitely, and it's easy because if I would become the crazy cat lady, I'd have a bunch of litter boxes to clean. So instead, I'm like, I just became the crazy plant lady. So,
well, you're not.
Well, I'd love to hear some advice or tips that you would have for someone who has that urge to redecorate, like you were talking about somebody that if somebody had to lighten up the paint and the fabric, but if they have a spouse or a partner who is like opposed to that, for number one, because they're like the cost or especially if we're talking about a male partner, they're always like so just practical. So what would some advice be for a listener who is that person who wants to make a change, but they have to deal with a spouse that's not amenable to that?
I think, besides hiring a high-end decorator or interior designer, if you do that, I would definitely be careful not to choose someone that just has a signature style, which is lovely if that style is your style. But if they just have a signature style and you're bringing it into your home, you may feel like your personality got lost along the way. And then your spouse as well. Like, are they going to take both of the personalities under consideration? I think some of the pushback is because sometimes the men don't get a say-so, and they've got this new interior that they're like, well, this doesn't really feel like home anymore. It's completely different. Or maybe they like a moody room, the moody dark colors, like a real male, office or something. Do a room for them and make them involved in the process so that they don't feel like you're just possibly spending y'all's money on something that doesn't even suit them, right? Another thing is like Pinterest and just Googling. I spend a lot of time on Instagram. Like I can't even tell you how many things I follow that are my style, which is like cottagey, but traditional and a little bit of new. It's a little bit eclectic. So do start paying attention to that. And you could probably pick up some tips for free on Instagram and Pinterest. And it's a fun little side thing to do. You show them to your partner. What do you think of this? And you could DIY it a little bit. But honestly, I really feel like you get the biggest bang for the buck, not necessarily by the most expensive interior designer with their own style, but someone who wants to incorporate what you want into your home.
Yeah, because I think that I have a friend who bought a really beautiful home and had an interior designer, and it's like a model home, but it's beautiful. But it doesn't feel like it feels like a show home or a showroom, not a home. That's I think where the finessing comes in, like you said, finding somebody who's going to take into account your personality and your spouse's or your partner's personality and try to incorporate that into the decor and your environment rather than just, I can create a beautiful space, but it's not going to feel like it's your space.
Right. And to incorporate like items from your travels, your favorite colors, your favorite artwork, like whatever the colors are there, take that favorite artwork and create a room full of like mimicking those colors. That's one of my favorite things to do because it's a treasured piece of art that you love. And then the rest of the room it feels like the whole room is enveloped in the artwork.
I love that. Erin has a great wall that in her house that she painted a main picture, and then she's got pictures that she painted and pictures from travels, and it's all like and local artists and like all around it, and it just incorporates like the color. I don't know, it's so colorful. And Erin, you're gonna have to like post a picture of that on social media. I just love it.
It's like a fun style. I wanted it to be all women's faces.
Oh,
And at first my husband did give me pushback. And so part of the question, the reason that I asked that question is because for my own, how I had to sell it, kind of like I had to be very, very nuanced in my way of selling it. But started out it was going to be all like women's faces, but it has some animal faces too. Because I wanted it to be just like a gallery wall of like, faces. So yeah, it's got some bright colors and sadly, Elizabeth, I don't think I have a wall that's big enough because I didn't want to put, it's a big giant wall and it was blank and we have bookcases on the other side. So I didn't want to do like a built-in bookcase type thing. So I was like, what can I do to fill up that space, but make it be kind of funky? So that's how, but I don't have a wall big enough in my new home to recreate it. So it's going to be kind of sad to see it go. It's going to get broken up.
Yeah. So do you have, Kim, any tips for people that are feeling kind of stuck? I know like when I look back, I don't know if this is true, but my grandmother always said every 10 years, your decorating tastes change. I don't know if that's true, but so I have gone with like total traditional, like when we've been married 26 years. When we first got married, it was traditional. And then it turned into like model home. It was very cold and stark, but it looked perfect and everything all the time. And then I went kind of like mid-century modern stuff, which really, I love it, but it wasn't, it's not me. Like, and so it didn't feel like me. And now I'm kind of into like, I don't know, like a mix of like transitional, but like I like the French country, cottagey, like I'm kind of more like that, but I still I love Tommy Bahama style too, like how I just don't live near I'm in DC. I don't live near the ocean, so it's like it kind of doesn't make sense for me to have like big palm branches, but I kind of love that too. But if someone is kind of like me, where they love a little bit of everything, what's like a step that they can do to start experimenting or playing to learn more about themselves?
Well, I think what you're describing is completely natural because when we're younger, we're trying out styles. So we're going to try out traditional, we're going to try out mid-century modern, and then just like our experiences, like they become part of us. So your home is a mimic of yourself. And so this just means you're a multi-dimensional person. And if you like the palm trees and the beach, have some kind of artwork, in a certain room with like, the lighter colors and the blues. And it won't be like a themed room, but it'll just have a little bit of a different feel. And then incorporate that little color in the rooms next door to it. So it just kind of flows, just a little specks of it so that it flows throughout the house. And to me, I think it's great to have a themed house or one certain color throughout, but it just depends on the person. And so if you're a colorful person and you want a wall full of different artwork and that states your personality, that's vibrant and colorful and likes, people, then that's a statement on your wall. And if you have had different experiences and you're open to different kind of textures and travel and cultures and things like that, and you're more like a worldly person, I think that should be expressed in your home. And what'll happen is, people will just kind of, it's like a little vignette, and people see a little part of your personality, like, oh, what is this piece here? And then you have a conversation about it. Instead of it's just like, oh yeah, we got that at, the farmhouse store down the road. Everything's from there. And so it's like it's sparking conversations about who you are, and you can express as your personality and your experiences so that you can have a conversation with people when they enter your home. And then you're relaxed because it's reflecting you. And as people enter your home, they're going to be comfortable as well because you're not hiding anything. They're not trying to figure out who you are, what your personality is. It's all right there. And I think don't be afraid. You can always move your furniture around later. You can split up your matching pieces in different rooms. You can experiment.
Yeah, I love that. So my husband really helped me get over this one thing. And if you are not fortunate enough to have a husband that supports you in this, like, do it for yourself. But he always says, like, what do you want me to paint? I can paint anything. Like, I'll paint. And I'm always like, it's such a big job. What if I don't like it? And he's like, it's just paint. I'll paint it back. Like, it's not that deep. And he's
so
like,
nice.
it's just paint. And so I'm always feeling bad because he's a perfectionist. He's the painter. He makes it all perfect and all that. But even if it's you, if it's not your husband, you say, it's just paint. Like, we can paint it back. We can change it. It's just paint.
Yeah. And I think Sherwin-Williams or somebody, they make those 8x8 squares. You can pop them all up on the wall, see how the sun hits them. And you can get, 2 or 3 of them and put them in different places and kind of imagine it too before you do the whole job.
Yeah, that way you can see it throughout the day.
Mm-hmm.
And see how it translates from morning sun to afternoon to evening, and if it works for you. They've really come a long way in the painting industry to try to help people from going to the cost and the time of painting a room and then like hating to paint.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. So talk to us a little bit. I know that you have the psychology background, but how having your home in alignment with your personality helps you in alignment then in your career and your relationships with other people.
So it just removes any barriers to like feeling uncomfortable. If say, I'm a creative, and so I know that my space is going to have a lot of books. It's going to have a little bit of chaos in it because if I'm working on a project that's creative and I have to pull out of that deep thought, I need it kind of sitting out so that when I get some time and get back into that project, it's right here. So I know that about my space. That's the way I'm built as a intuitive, extroverted, feeling perceptive person. However, if someone's the opposite and they're more of like a introverted, sensing, thinking, judging, that's more of like a logical engineer type person. They need a space very clear in their office, to-do lists, everything put away so that they can focus deeply on the task at hand. That is a smaller, logical, linear focus. And so that's just one example of how your environment can help you, say, in your career or anything like that. So if you do Zoom calls, probably don't want to put your office with outdoors in an open concept home where children run through. So you just have to, look at aligning your personality and what you do with the way your home supports that.
That's true. So I redid my closet over the summer, and I didn't spend a ton of money. All I redid was I bought like fancy hangers that were appropriate for each item of clothing, whether it be pant short hangers, like all the different types of hangers. And then I hung artwork that is very artsy and it speaks to. So it's like I love that artsy vibe, like that Erin has in her house, which I keep mentioning. And so that's what my closet is like. But I don't necessarily want to live all in that. Like I like having a space for it. And so my closet became that. And now I love going in there every day and getting ready. And I see like hand painted artwork that is hanging in there and my eclectic stuff. And it makes me so happy. I love it. I feel like so excited to get ready. I'm like,
yeah, I was about to say it must put you
I
in
get to go into my art space, my art gallery. Yeah.
I was about to say it must put you in a really good mood when you're getting ready to go do something, when you're getting ready to go to dinner or out to have some fun. It probably sets the mood.
Yeah. And then it's like, which now that we're sitting here talking about this and I'm saying it out loud, now my beauty room, because I'm a beauty creator, content creator, I'm like, it's so sterile, model home-ish, it's not really reflective of my personality. It's just something that I was like, oh, that'll be a good background. Throw that up there. Do a neutral paint. Put something, but it's not really. So maybe I need to work on incorporating some of my closet into this room, so I feel happier coming in here.
It could be, but you're also trying to help people paint a canvas for their personality with their beauty. So what beauty means to them, maybe a neutral palette isn't a bad idea because you're taking into account their personality and what makeup looks good on them. And so if it interferes with what you're trying to do for that individual, then maybe you've done the right thing.
Love that.
I think you have done the right thing, Elizabeth. I mean, you've been very successful, and people love to hear from you and follow you. So if it ain't broke, don't fix it, girl. Elizabeth was talking about decorating styles, and I've taken some quizzes, to try to figure out my decorating style as well. So is there any tips you have for someone who is trying to figure out their decorating style? And then, like, is there a way to, is there maybe say, sometimes there's like an 80-20 rule or 60-40 rule. I mean, I'm just using arbitrary numbers to like decorating. So if you're like, oh, mid-century modern is my style, so I'll make that the 60%, and then the other 40% I'll have it be, postmodern and, some cottage core or something. Is there? So what are your thoughts on how do you figure out your decorating style?
Well, I think you have to look at some examples of what other people are doing and see what speaks to you and start to follow those mostly ladies on Instagram or whatever your choice of social media or platform is. And it'll start to feed you certain things. And then what I do is I save everything I love because I have some renovation plans of my own. And so I just make you put the little ribbon on the right-hand side and you make folders for things that you like for certain rooms in the house. And then a style will start to develop. And then when you do go to start this project, you can show your interior designer or an architect or anyone helping you with the project. This is the feel. This is what I want it to look like. Or I like this about that, and I like that about that. I love how that chair's mid-century modern, but it looks fine with the little more modern couch, and the color scheme ties it all together, things like that. So I honestly think that I'm a visual person, and if you're going to redo your style or discover what your style is, looking at visual representations of different styles and sort of like yes, no, swipe left, swipe right. And you just hone in on exactly what is appealing to you. And I think that's the only way that you can do it. And then there might be things like, well, this is my grandparents' beautiful such and such. And it may not be perfect with the rest of your house, but maybe there's somewhere you can showcase it and reupholster it to like a modern fabric or something that goes more with your style. So I think you just have to be savvy and find someone to help you that recognizes your style, but also can pull it out of you.
Yeah, I think that's what my problem is. I like every style. I'm like, oh, I love coastal. Oh, I love mid-century modern. Oh, I love, old world or whatever. I love natural stuff. It's like trying to like really, hone in and make it more cohesive, I think is where I end up kind of going off the rails because it's just like, oh, I love that. And then I buy it and then I love that, but they don't necessarily go together. So I guess I need to get help.
And so the way that you tie that together is you use the same color theme. Even though all of your pieces are from different eras or different styles, if the colorways match and coordinate together, it's okay. It's just interesting. So eclectic is a style.
Okay. Well,
so
then
keep the colors flowing because the colors can tie things together.
That's right.
Okay. Well, good. That helps me feel better because I think I am eclectic, but I do try to keep the same kind of like I have a brighter color palette. So okay. Well, good. Then I'm not totally a lost cause.
You're not. And maximalism is coming back. Have you?
I love maximalism. I'm in a bunch of maximalism groups on Facebook.
that might be your style, and just embrace it. There's nothing wrong. People will love it.
Yeah. Well, good.
Love that. Well, do you have any final thoughts for us, Kim?
Well, I think just speaking to, the age group in their late 40s, 50s, just it's time to be you and embrace who you were made to be and celebrate that and reflect it in your home and invite people in to share the real you. And I think that it will really make you happy.
I love that. That's so great. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for sharing all of your wisdom. Tell our listeners where they can find you.
Oh, sure. Thank you. So you can find me on my website. That's lifestylefoundations.com. And on there, you can get a lifestyle lift assessment where you can walk through your home and start on some of these frameworks just in about 10 minutes. And then otherwise, you can find me on my new podcast, Live in Your Wheelhouse. And the book with the same name comes out in March.
That's so exciting. I love that. I can't wait to listen to your podcast and get your book and just learn more. This was such a great talk. It was really interesting. I really liked how you have like the 8 categories. And I don't know. I felt like it really just everything was nice and grounding and validating. And I think intuitively we kind of know like some stuff, but we just sometimes need confirmation or permission sometimes, or,
Or structure, just the structure to be you, the guide rails to like put everything in little batches. And it's just a logical way to be your true self.
Yeah. Well, make sure that you have hit the follow button on the podcast so that you can stay on the loop whenever we release a new episode each week.
And you can follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and watch the full episode on YouTube. And we will see you next Wednesday. Thanks for listening, everyone. And Kim, thanks for joining. Have a great day.
Bye.
Thank you for having me.
This has been a production of Estrogen Dropouts, LLC.